Andrij Dobriansky, Chair of the UN Affairs at the Ukrainian World Congress, joins us from New York. We also have Jon Stewart, who's a journalist, activist, and political analyst, joining us from Belgrade. Welcome to you both. Andrij, let me first start with you. What is the deal with dwindling Ukrainian supplies? Even the Ukrainian President Zelensky said recently Ukraine lacks weapons to stop the Russian army.
Push right now is to make sure that we have as many anti-aircraft and specifically anti-missile systems in place in Ukraine. We had a robust debate in the last several hours in European Parliament, asking by members of European Parliament why the 100 Patriot systems that currently reside on European territory, why 7 of those can't be transferred to Ukraine's major cities. We already have had all major airports shut down. There is no realistic air travel because of the use of ballistic missiles against civilian infrastructure that we saw on our television screens. So the need is for anti-rocket technology as well as additional munitions to shoot down those Iranian-made drones.
When this type of announcement comes from the Ukrainian President Jon Stewart, there's 3 things that come out of that. First of all, I don't think they would wait until the last munition to make an announcement like that. Either they're losing on the field or they are crying out because countries are not helping them with the munition that they need. What is the deal? What do you make of what our guest there said and what this lack of munitions actually means?
Well, first of all, with all due respect to your guest, I'm not directly involved in this region myself, and I think I have an ability to see this from a more balanced point of view. The situation that's taking place right now in Ukraine is a kind of silent NATOization of Ukraine. It's actually the induction of Ukraine into the NATO infrastructure via provisions of weapons, experts, dual citizens who are American and Ukrainian, and so on, who are actually doing an operation creep into Ukraine to achieve the same result that they tried to achieve originally and could not pull off because the sizable ethnic Russian population of Ukraine opposed joining an anti-Russian alliance. That's the essence of all of what's happening now. Everything else is the addition of weapons by the Western alliance to make a proxy war on Russia's gateway at the historical capital of Russia, Kiev. It was the Russian capital. To do this in a manner designed to destroy Russia. Nothing to do with caring about the people of Ukraine. And the more the people of Ukraine are killed by this regime that was put into power by NATO and by the EU and by secret agents and by a wanted oligarch, a banking oligarch, Kolomoisky, who is wanted both in Israel and in Ukraine and in America for criminal financial crimes that put Zelensky into the presidency. For more weapons, which will kill more hundreds of thousands of people for no reason whatsoever.
All right, first of all, do you have a response to what our guest there said, Andrij? I'm curious as to the fact that after all of this time to have passed, where things stand on the diplomatic front, if there is a chance for that.
Once again, you asked the question about the casualties being inflicted on Ukraine, what Ukraine needs, and I heard a lot of ill-informed, uninformed conspiracy theories about what actually happens in Ukraine. The fact is that we have people lacking in power, hospitals, schools. We are coming out of the cold season, but yet again, a lot of Western support is going to be needed to restore power, to make sure that, again, schools and hospitals, the priority being the civilian population, and that is specifically what's being targeted in the strikes, especially since Russia began bombing at a rate of sometimes $1 billion a day beginning on December 29th of last year. As far as diplomacy, yes, we do have major events coming up. In June, you'll have the G7. That'll precede not only the NATO summit, but a proposed conference of many different voices that Switzerland has offered to host this summer, late summer into the fall, which would precede any kind of sit-down, mediated sit-down with Russia after many more voices, the kind of voices like the 100 nations, 100+ nations who have voted to condemn Russia, all get together and understand what the best possible outcome will be.
Well, if it's going to be an anti-Russia deal there, Jon Busnich, it's not obviously going to work. We could talk about the military aspect of this war, but because of lack of time, what chances do you give on the diplomatic front? One of the things that's being thrown around is the former U.S. President Donald Trump saying that Ukraine has to give up some territory and this war then can subside. Do you agree with that, or what do you think?
That's inevitable because the territory that Ukraine supposedly would have to give up has already been given up. That minimum territory, which is majority ethnic Russian and which voted and wanted to join Russia and not be a part of an ultra-nationalist neo-Nazi Ukraine, that part is gone forever. The island of Crimea, that territory which was given away in a communist underhanded deal that the Americans even opposed in the 1950s when Khrushchev was in power in Russia, that was canceled because 96% of the people there are or wanted to be ethnic Russians or wanted to stay inside Russia. So when the people have a chance to speak, they either want to go back to Russia in all of these regions that are under contest now, military contest now, or they don't want to be a part of the Ukraine that's run by the puppet of the CIA sitting in Kiev.
All right, thank you very much, Andrij Dobriansky, Chair of the UN Affairs Ukrainian World Congress. And we were just listening to Jon Busnich, who is a journalist, activist, and political analyst. Thank you to you both. And with that, we come to an end for this news review. Thanks for tuning in.